Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone. So we welcome everyone to the satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. And we are going to do the study circle on Gita Vahini. So, and here last week we talked about three things: Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika. Because three kinds of problems we all have in life. They're created by ourselves, right? Physical or mental illnesses. If you have physical problems, sickness, that is a part of the body. You will have so many systems. Whether you will have a joint problems, heart problem, or a GA problem, some problem, physical. And same thing, mind. Sometimes is up, sometimes down, anxiety, fear, doubt, depression. So these are the various things which happen, which causes us agitation. Second thing is Adi Bhautika. So from outside, our family, it could be your children, it could be your friends, your enemies, anybody outside your relationships, they can give you pain. And even sometimes it could be the animals when we were going the other day, coyote or bear, things will come and they may bother you or snake, anything. So anything which is outside you, with people or animals or anything, that is adibhautika, outside. It is adidaivika, which is the divine dispensation, which is not in our control. Even scientists control these hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, all these. Even though the scientists can predict, they can change the course. They may predict hurricane 4 or 5. There was no hurricane at all. And sometimes they think it is hurricane level 1, it will become hurricane 5. So this shows we have limitation in the science also. Only up to a point we can. Shows that superpower, the Lord controls everything. So when we think about these three distractions, Adhyatmika within ourselves, or Adibhautika from the outside, or Adidaivika from the natural God's dispensation. So when we chant peace 3 times, Om Shanti, 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 protects us from that. So that is what we need. Remember that this is what last week we talked about that. So now we'll continue on page 42, chapter 5 in the hard copy, and in the electronic copy is on page 24. We'll start the Sthita Prajna. Hope at least that word we should know by the things. That means man of steady wisdom. And people who don't, who are interested, can go to the chapter 2, Shloka 54 to 72 describes, Arjuna asks, who is a Sthita Prajna? Who is a man of steady wisdom? Then Lord Krishna gives elaborately the qualities of a Sthita Prajna. How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he behave? What is his quality? So if we want to know whether we are Sthita Prajna, just you have to go on checklist whether we fit those criteria or not. If not, we can see, okay, how can I improve in that direction? So that is what the Sthita Prajna, because this is one of the important. And another thing important about chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, is like a beautiful master he is, teacher, world teacher is Lord Krishna. What all he is going to talk about in the coming 16 chapters, he gives this summary. From there, He says what he's going to talk about. If you know the Sankhya Yoga, all the rest chapters are the commentary on that chapter 2. And chapter 18, Moksha Sannyasa, is summary of the whole thing, what he talked about. So he, like a teacher, he says, I'm going to talk about this point. That is what Sankhya Yoga is, these are the things. And then having talked about all the things in Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, he summarizes what all he talked about. So that is called Sanchipta Gita, Moksha Sannyasa. So you know this, and then these 2 chapters are very good. Every word of Lord Krishna is like a mantra to all the chapter, but these 2 especially chapters, you can dive deep into that. So we'll start here on page 42, starting with the Sthita Prajna will be ever engaged in Manana.
The Sthita Prajna will be ever engaged in Manana, or contemplation and rumination. He is called Muni. His intellect is steady because the senses do not harry it. One point has to be understood here. Conquest of the senses is essential for sadhana, but that is not all. So long as the objective world continues to attract the mind, one cannot claim complete success. That is why Krishna says, Arjuna, establish mastery over the senses. Then you need have no fear, for they become serpents with the fangs removed. But there is still danger from thoughts and impulses which draw you outwards. Desire has no limit. It can never be satiated. So along with the mastery of the senses, one must establish mastery of the mind also. That is the sign of a Sthita Prajna and not a Gata Prajna, or a no wisdom individual and a not a steady wisdom individual. Where does the Gata Prajna go? To perdition and nowhere else. The upward path, the higher stage, that is for the Sthita Prajna. For of these 2 masteries, if the mind is subdued, that alone is enough. It is not necessary then to conquer the external senses. If the mind has no attachment with objects, the senses have nothing to cling on to. They perish by inanition. Love and hate are both starved out of existence. The bonds with the objective world are cut, though the senses may yet be affected by it. For him who has been blessed by an awareness of the Atma, how can anything worldly bring grief or joy? You want me to?
Yeah, you can stop there, and we have 3 paragraphs, so we need to digest that. So Swami, everything is very concentrated.
These are loaded paragraphs too. I think we talk a lot about, and I was listening to a discourse where Swami really talks about not being of the world, but just being in the world. So there's a lot about being an observer versus being attached to everything that's happening around you. And I think that's where having control over your mind comes from. With our mind, we have what we create are these thoughts and emotions where we project this existence around us, and we have this attachment to a lot of the physical existence, whether it's our own physical form or physical objects. And obviously this leads to attachment and expectation. So a lot of what we have read about in Gita Vahini is this needing to not have attachment to things like an outcome or a physical sensation. And I think these 3 paragraphs really just bring it all together. And some of this I wrote for further. I think this last sentence here, where does the Sthita Prajna go? To perdition and to nowhere else, or Gata Prajna, I'm sorry, to perdition and nowhere else. When you have this attachment, that's where you have these cycles of sort of the birth and death. And with each birth, there's always some suffering because we're attaching to outcomes, we're attaching to relationships, we're attaching to things. So as we work on our own sadhana, it's really recognizing the presence of Atma or divinity within. And with that, you don't have all of these emotions, but you just have this blissfulness that carries you through. I think I had read ahead, so some of my notes are.
So anyway, so this here perdition, he says, actually you should refer to the chapter, the shlokas 54 to 72. This is where last week we talked about how beautifully analyzed that how do you get the desire, what is the consequences of desire, and what happens because you have desire, right? Dhyayato vishayan pumsas sangasteshu pajayate. So first you get this and that, look at objects. You want a car, you want a house, or you want some spouse, or just you look at it and then you get interested. Vishaya. Yayato Vishayan Punsas Sangayate Kama. Once you saw that, if you didn't ever even saw a car, why will you have a desire? Because you saw those, whether billboards or movie or somebody tell you, then you get the desire. I want to have that, right? So new model of iPhone came, a new iPad came, a computer this works fast. Something somebody tells you or then you just, if you didn't know that, you will have desire, no desire. Because you get to know that, then you get a desire to have it. That is the basic thing. So if you do less things you know, you won't have less desires. So the very fact with the bombarded by the media, whether the TV, newspapers, or by the friends and society, all these things you get to that. Then you get then you get a desire. I want to have that. Oh, he has, my friend has it, because I too want to have that. And kamat kodaha. Once you have the desire, everything you can't have. First, you don't have to have money to buy this or somebody else. Then you get frustrated. Krodha means resentment. My God, why I didn't have? I wish I had more money, more jobs, so I can. Kamat krodho bijayate. Once anger comes, what happens? Krodhat bhavat sammoh. Then all your judgment goes away. We saw so many people in the fit of anger, how many crimes they do. But then not they themselves can die. I remember one of my nephews, he was only 34, and he got mad with his a guy who was working under him. He made some resistance. Then he took a chair. Hey, how can you say that? And he dropped dead. My cousin dropped dead. So anger can kill. Really, it can kill. I have seen another instance. So krodha bhavati sammohat. Sammohat smriti vibhrama. Your judgment gone. Smriti bramshat buddhinasho. Then your judgment is completely gone. Buddhinashat pranashati. This is what he is talking about, perdition. It means you're completely out of guns. You're gone case. You're out. So the thing is, you need to beautifully he analyzed, because the desire is the one, the root problem. The classical case is Ramayana. Mother Sita was a young lady. After the marriage, Rama had to go on exile. She doesn't have to go, but she was such a wonderful lady, noble person and Pativrata. So just as soon as I said, no, I don't want this, I want to go with him to the forest to suffer all those trials and tribulations, she was sacrificed comforts of royal palace and everything to be with Lord Rama. Because you have to give up for anything you want to have God, you have to sacrifice something. So she sacrificed her comforts, the royal palace, everything. She went there. So she was enjoying with Lord Rama. And what was the problem? Then Kama came, the desire. He saw that golden deer. Hey, I want to have that. That looks so nice, cute, like in anything. Like, why should he have desire to that? These are divine play. He has a desire to have that. Because of that, lost Lord Rama. So it has to be think she was that. So so when you have desire, the classical example is you when you sacrifice your comforts and for God, you have God. When you are more interested in the desire, then you lost it. But this is the power of illusion. Always people gata prajna, sthita prajna. It's not easy because we all get confused. Actually, because Lord Krishna's birthday, there is a beautiful story in Bhagavatam. You know Brahma. Brahma is who? The creator of the universe, and he is what? So he's the man of wisdom. He created. So he saw this Lord Krishna, young boy, 7, 8-year-old boy. Everybody says he is a Parabrahman. He said, can this guy be a Parabrahman? He eats with his friends and eats what they have eaten, and he plays in the mud, and he goes some places and steals the butter. He cannot be Brahman. The Lord Supreme cannot be. How can he do this? This is not Brahman. So even he was confused. And he said, let me do this. Because he was playing with all the cows and the gopalas, the cowherd girls and boys. He went one day, took them all and hid them in a cave. Completely hidden. Let us see what happens. So he was so dumb because even though he's Brahma at that time, he was deluded by Vishnu Maya. He was forgot who Lord Krishna is. Then Lord Krishna, by his own power, he duplicates everything. All the cows, the gopas, cowherd girls, cowherd boys, everything is completely recreated. Just because by sankalpa they can. So then everybody was playing with them, and then mothers, they used to like Krishna more. Now they like these children because they're part of Lord Krishna projection they have. So everybody was having. Then Brahma comes after a while. What is happening? Let me go and see. Everything is happy and everything is going on. He says, oh my God, how dumb I am. I'm deluded by his Maya. He asked the forgiveness of Lord Krishna. Forgive me, I was confused by, I didn't realize who you really are. So when God comes in human form, even Brahma can be confused. So that is why we need to be always vigilant and pray. Like Sri Ramakrishna always used to pray two things. Mother, give me always pure love for your divine lotus feet. Don't delude me by your world bewitching Maya, Vaishnavi Maya, that is called. So powerful, even great sages like Vishwamitra, other issues. So many people are deluded because it can really get, unless you are really pure. So coming back to that, a desire is the one which we need to control. And then only you'll have peace of mind. Somebody says, oh, I don't have peace of mind, and I have no, mind is deep. Somebody says, the hand, oh, my hand is swollen, pain, we can show. But where is the mind? How you say, where is the mind to say there is no peace? Where is the mind? Somebody shows? Can you show it, mind? Anybody can show mind? Mind is bundle of thoughts. That's all. So you should have clarity. So you have all divine thoughts, noble thoughts, good thoughts, are happy. You have negative thoughts, bad thoughts, you are unhappy. So it is, mind is nothing but sankalpa vikalpatmakam manas. Means think of good and bad thoughts. So like we gave the example of the handkerchief. Do you remember? What is handkerchief made up of? So many threads. And if you go on removing thread by thread, no more handkerchief. Same thing, mind you can compare to a handkerchief. It is made up of so many thoughts. Go on removing all thoughts, finally no mind. So similar is the fact. So that is what. Anybody else has any comments or questions?
There's a question here.
Mm.
I found the phrase love and hate are starved into non-existence. This is when mind is not attached. This is reference to raga and dvesha, right? Not the love as in prema.
Very good point. I think that must be Aravind, because I too, when I read that, that's why when they translate this, the problem with the Telugu's what Swami said, Sanskrit, when people translate in English, Raga Dvesha, they translated as love and hatred. Raga means attachment, like some intense liking. Dvesha means dislike. In life, we all have likes and dislikes. So go beyond what he's telling is not love. This love is ultimate. That is the most powerful thing we all should have. There is no love, there is no purpose of life at all. That is why Swami said, the whole creation came because of love. I separated myself from myself so that I love myself. That is the basic principle why the creation came. So if there is no love, what is the purpose of life? So it is very good point. Love is not the right translation. It's the likes. In life, people say we have 9 planets, Navagraha. People do that 9-planet puja, also that we don't have influence with this thing, and Mars and Saturn. So, okay, for one people in belief, but the Swami says there are no 9 planets. There are only 2 planets, Raga and Dvesha. That is, in life, always you have something you like, whether it is people, or it is things, or it is the places, something you like, and you dislike. You don't like some people, I don't like some things, you don't like some places. Both are your bondage. So, the best way to get rid of these things, Raga and Dvesha, how do you get is? Swami said by anugraha, by God's grace. In your God's grace, these planets won't affect. So that is the whole purpose is gets God's grace. So that is a good observation. So like that, this is a critical thing we need to see. So what is you don't need to have raga dvesha, not the love is the most important principle. Swami said that is what we should.
Basically,
Yeah.
like and dislike.
Likes and dislike. Or another way they say is attachment and aversion. So certain things you are attached. Raga is likes means attachment to certain things. And dvesha is aversion to something, dislike for something. So this is the closest translation. Okay, we'll continue next week.